think DTs are a good choice because they force my opponent to do a couple of things. Obviously, oftentimes when you're going DTs, it is a sacrifice of other units or potentials to, in some hopes of, you're doing a little bit of rolling of the dice there, but I think Playa in his head, he's got it that, okay, I know what, either my opponent doesn't respond at all and then they get wrecked, or my opponent
Well, and the other thing is that, like, you don't see a lot of cannons either to deal with the detection piece. So, like,
yeah, sometimes,
whenever you deal with Zerg or Terran, you put a cannon down for detection or deterrent for either muters or banshees, right? Or drops. And the thing is that with this, there is not that immediate, like, oh shit, it's been 6 minutes or 6.5 minutes. I haven't seen any enemy units. They could have a banshee coming. Or, it's been 9 minutes, there could be, super fast mutas coming. So there's no need necessarily for the immediate detection. You usually make one observer just to kind of see where the other guy's army is. But again, you don't make more observers than you need, and I think that's one of the big things here. So anyway, but we'll get into that in a minute. Let's go ahead and start introductions, though.
All right, let's do this one. So, we've got ourselves. He is the player from Kansas. He's the blue Protoss. He is Bales.
And down in the lower corner in the red trunks, we've got our other Protoss. It's Playa!
And Playa is actually, well, I guess to begin with, since I introduced the state that Bales is from, Playa is from Missouri, representing his state in some degree in this Midwest duel. And he's actually the only player now to have played in every single Midwest Cup, so hats off to him there for being extremely consistent. And he often places quite high as well, so he's never quite gotten...
Hope so. If he ever got wrecked by someone like me, I'd be sorely disappointed.
He's never gotten that first place, but he oftentimes ends up somewhere on the podium. So,
here, you know what? Not that I don't like necessarily picking favorites unless we're watching someone who defeated me and knocked me out of the tournament.
Sure.
But no, it would be nice to see like the story behind the player sort of thing is that you get in these smaller tournaments. And I think in this case, he's tried so many times to get this, and he's generally at least a friendly person. A lot of the GMs are very, very not curt, but they're short on words because they take these tournaments very seriously. They're not here to joke around, kind of like the way you and I are as commentators and lower level players. But the story here is that if Playa were to pull that out, that would be kind of like a dream. It would be like it's like Dan Marino in football. Like, he went to so many playoff games, but he never got the Super Bowl ring, sort of thing.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. So we'll see if Playa with his and it is a very unique play style that I'm fairly confident that we'll see coming out of him. We'll see if he can really make it happen. And the first of his, kind of an iconic or characteristic of his is this first zealot that he's sending across the map. What he does here is he sends it across. It's kind of his initial scout, and even though it seems like, okay, well, this is pretty silly, I think at least in half or more of the games that I've seen him play, he gets like 2 or 3 probe kills or drone or SCV kills with a zealot like this. And it's like, that's not really supposed to work, right? Like, nobody else does that.
Like, no one sends John Rambo
Party
laser
doesn't
blades
do
on
that.
his hand out there for it,
Yeah.
That's literally what this is. This is John Rambo. He's like, all right, screw this. I'm going to walk right past your army with my bow with explosive tips and just go kill everyone.
So we'll see. I mean, Bales intercepts it very well. I think the only chance that Playa has is maybe if there's not quite the right micro on the probes, but Bales does manage to pull back the probe being attacked properly. And actually,
though, if you think about it, it was actually very unique. So he sends his Zelda in there, and normally you'd walk with the Stalker and the Mothership across the map, right?
Yep.
Well, guess what?
Yeah,
that never happened, and Playa was able to safely throw down an Expo without any pressure from his opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Bales does the same thing, but the point is that normally the Stalker would have been here chipping away at that probe or killing it before it can get that Expo out, but that didn't happen. So perhaps that's some sort of like inner voodoo that we as Zerg and Terran players should maybe take note of.
Sure, yeah. I mean, and that's what I was starting to get to before the game started, where Playa does a lot of things that, like, you'd say they're kind of... I think he understands the risks of all of them, then understands what, like, the implication of all of those actions are. And like you said, like, he does get a scout with the Zealot. He sacrifices a lot of be it resources as well as building time on the gateway. He's not producing a stalker, but he sees, he's able to see, well, I feel like you should have seen that expansion. He saw the probe at the very least, so
yeah,
he
like
probably
I'm looking
knows,
at that,
but
and like from the vision, like actually neither one of them actually can see the other's expansion. So they
Yeah.
might have seen the probe, but they don't see the building if you
Yeah.
flip between the vision.
yeah.
Well, never mind. Speak of that, there's the little probe going in and going to steal a few minerals, deny mining time on that patch, and then get exploded.
Yeah, but he's
and
done.
The mechanical guts go all over the place.
He's done mostly what he needs to do. I mean, he hasn't seen any of Bales's tech, or not Bales's, but Playa's tech. Bales has not seen any of that yet. He does have an hallucinated phoenix coming in. Hello, not on the rocks. There we go. Follow the phoenix. good little observer.
Control F.
I know, man. It's just I accidentally got the phoenix on the rocks at the same time.
Oh, the phoenix does spot the dark shrine though.
Yep.
So the stealth mode thing is not going to work, but there is a DT that's sitting kind of at his natural ramp. Wow, but that sneak attack is not necessarily going to be there. He may have to do what he's done in previous games, where he'll make Dark Templar, do whatever he can with them, and then just use them as a source of Archons later on.
Yeah, and he always just uses them kind of like that Zealot, where it's like, okay, I'm forcing my opponent into a certain playstyle by doing a certain thing. I think Playa just is comfortable with the common responses to DTs and like Stargate play, in that he knows what his opponent's going to do, and then he acts accordingly himself as well. Like, he's not even sending this DT in as that John Rambo. He's like, well, my opponent probably knows it's here, so I'll just wait for now.
Instead, what he's going to do is he's going to send the Warp Prism in with John Rambo, because he's got a Warp Prism here coming in. Fortunately, his pylon's going to spot it. Oh, it does get seen. He does not. Unfortunately, Bales responds with a photon overcharge, and that's going to be the end of John Rambo's career, unfortunately, as he gets airlifted out of there and pulled back. But his twin down here is just sitting here just kind of, as a cloaked opponent. I'm sorry, probably the closest thing Protoss has to a mine, where it's just sitting here in that nice path where you can see if the army is going to make that slow march across the map or not.
Yeah. And actually, Playa has not seen kind of a big choice out of Bales. He's gone straight into 2 Stargates, which has really seemed kind of bold to me. I mean, I wonder if he's been paying attention to what Playa has been very stylistic about his play in the past, and he knows that, from what I've seen of Playa's matches, for example, is that it's often a DT Shrine and then a Stargate with Phoenixes to back it up, and he often goes into a Phoenix War that he usually wins in a PvP, but in this case, we don't actually see... Okay,
no, and it looks like this mothership core is in danger of going down. These 3 Phoenixes are pressuring it. 1 peels off, 2 gets it. Does he get the kill? Yes, the mothership core goes down, and he doesn't lose a single Phoenix despite the photon overcharge that went down. That was amazing. And
we do see now 3 Stargates out of Playa, so we're going to have a lot of Phoenix on Phoenix action, assuming that Playa is actually... I mean, Bales is in a strong position to hold the air superiority for now, and for quite a while, really, until Playa's excess Stargates result in an excess in Phoenixes, but that's going to be a while, so...
Yeah, I mean, he is chrono boosting Phoenixes out 3 at a time. I mean, he's using all the chrono boost with the exception of 1. He's got 1 more he could use, potentially. But all these Phoenixes from Bales fly in and just start picking off probes and probes and probes. And look, there's a mothership core. Let's go and attack that. Oh, well, there's some more Phoenixes. We're going to back out. And he still does not lose a Phoenix. What is this madness?
And all the while, he's actually been using this map vision and this map control to take his 3rd base. So he's definitely going to be ahead in the economy side of things, so we'll see if Playa can really manage to... getting a fleet beacon, interesting. I guess that's going to be for the extended range on the Phoenixes, that upgrade. Trying to give himself an edge somehow.
Is that you did earlier in another match, you always mentioned how Bales always seems to have a worker lead, and usually when you have mirror matches, they're pretty darn close together, right? Once again, Bales does have a 10-worker lead here at the 13-minute mark. I know that's like, oh, it's 13 minutes, but, that's actually a fairly big deal, considering the fact that, I mean, it is a 3rd, but he can chrono boost out now from 3 bases and get extra workers and just send them all over here, and that's going to be huge.
And Play is trying to make something happen with this kind of small ground force, but I'm a little bit worried about it, to be honest. There's only those 3 stalkers, a sentry, and an archon that can actually shoot up. In come the phoenixes to actually give a little backup there. That's good. Now we're feeling a little bit more safe. But I mean, what do we even have for a ground army out of Bales? It's
Phoenix engagement, mid-air engagement. This is just ship shooting ships. There's a warp prism there trying to warp in. I don't know what its purpose was. It didn't actually warp in anything, but it looks like I gotta get that overlay away. I can't see anything. Oh, looks like he peels off again. Once again, Bales loses not very many units. I mean, if you look at the units lost tab, Bales has only lost a total of 4 units out of this entire game so far, compared to more than triple that on the side of Playa here. And with this, he's got a Colossus here. He's got 1 Colossus, but it's mostly a Phoenix Immortal force here that's really doing it. But Bales has basically made up the army supply difference, and he's taking a significant lead now. There's just nothing that Playa can actually push into right now safely without taking heavy losses, and so I think he pulls back here just to prevent from taking a really bad engagement up that ramp to the 3rd.
Yeah, and I think Bales has really got this match figured out and really locked down. I mean, he's gotten that air superiority that he's continued to keep. He continues to have a higher Phoenix count than his opponent Playa, and he's kind of supplementing that with a whole lot of I guess, are this charge lots at this point? Yes, they are. They do have... No, they don't have charge yet. Okay. But a whole lot of zealots to really kind of compensate for that low ground force, but very strong air force. And I don't know.
Unfortunately, he really needs to pull back. Like, he needs to push this and potentially maybe even get out something like even maybe a Void Ray or 2, which can do damage to the Immortals or the Archons with the prismatic alignment. I mean, he needs to be able to do something to stop this composition. The Zealot is what's going to basically hurt him, because the Phoenix just won't be able to lift up enough of the Zealots to really take them out of the fight. He does have an option where if he were to send these Phoenixes now that it's bypassed the main army, he could take the Phoenix and go into the mineral line and do some harassment there, because there's maybe 1 cannon. He did fortify each one with 2 cannons, so that may not work, but he could still try to do something, maybe pick off a few units. He's trying to pick off these Phoenixes at the edge, but it's just not enough, because I mean Bales is just going to say, screw it, you can have my Air Force. I've got like the Marine Corps of Death marching on your base.
Yeah, although at the end of the day, I mean, Playa with that anion pulse crystal upgrade, which is a great one that everyone fails to pronounce properly, actually manages to take out the Phoenix count of Bales, and now he's got the air superiority, but now he's finding himself, Bales actually went into a strong ground army, and he might not be able to manage. All these Zealots and Archons are really dealing damage.
And you called it.
Player realizes that,
and
and it's game over for game number 1.
One thing he did do is he did do what I suggested. He sent his Phoenixes into the natural of Bales and wiped out all the probes that were in that base.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
so he did manage to get in there. I mean, despite the fact there were 2 photon cannons, he just kind of took the hit on the nose and tried to do some damage, something to draw him back. But Bales just knew that he had the superior army. He moved in and attacked the 3rd, and then he reinforced with, more units than anything that Playa could have dealt with, because Immortals versus Zealots is not going to work out so well for the immortaling player.
Yeah.
And there is one thing I need to change briefly. I need to change my observer interface, because I don't have that set correctly. Hang on. I use the standard one, which is not helpful. Oh, man, and I've got 2 copies of GameHeart installed. Oh, and they both have the same name, so I have no idea which is the correct one. You know what? Give me 1 second, or unless they're going to really, really hop into this right now. I need like just 30 seconds to like launch a replay on my end to see which one I have selected.
Okay.
So let the players know. I'm going to leave the party briefly here, and I will be right back. I apologize. I don't mean to delay this any more than I need to, but if I don't have this, then I can't do anything about it. Where's my options? So I'll just let you talk while I fix this.
Okay. Okay, so I will get the players. I will get us started into the game, and I'll invite you in once you're all figured out and such.
You can do that?
Yeah, I can
You can
invite you
invite
to the
someone
game.
after a match has already started?
No, after the lobby is created, though, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
So,
I mean, you're like after it starts, I'm like, well, that's
no, no,
some crazy StarCraft hacking there. It's like,
some
you
magic
got wall
shit, man.
hacks on that computer too? All right, so I think I've got the right game hard interface now. Let's see if this works.
Okay, so
Okay, I do have the right interface. Where's the menu at? Okay. There's no menu button for me to click on because I never do that.
what? It's F10.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have my that row of keys bound to something else.
Oh, game over.
So like
Then.
they don't function on my keyboard in like in any application, not just StarCraft 2. Like F9 through 12 don't do anything on my keyboard. All right, I'm good to go. Reinvite me. Let's do this.
Okay.
These players want to play and win some money, man.
That they do. So yeah, I think there. I invited you. Got you. Cool. Yeah, I think what we'll have to see how to play it is. I think he just needs to change it up. I mean, we'll see if he does. We've seen in the past he stays kind of stubborn with his build orders and tends to kind of just try again with a lot of things. We'll see if there's any differences in his play, but it seems like really in that first game, Bales just kind of had him figured out. He got that observer and he's safe.
The thing was that he was relying on those DTs quite a bit, and the Dark Shrine got spotted immediately, and so he couldn't really. He'd spent money in that tech. He'd spent money in like 2 or 3 Dark Templars. You know, he tried to do a Warp Prism harass with it, but that got spotted by the pylon that he wasn't expecting to be there. So he spent money in for drops and Dark Templar, and then wasn't able to use any of that tech. And I think that put him behind. If he had not done those things, he could have had some extra gateway units. He maybe could have had a couple of Void Rays or a Tempest or something. You know, anything else other than 3 Dark Templar and a Warp Prism. You know that plus a Dark Shrine. That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
so,
and I think basically it went from Playa being used to setting the tone and setting the speed of the match to Bales actually anticipating that ahead of time. He had an observer even before he saw the Dark Shrine. He had a robo ready, and his build just kind of it ended up being the right proactive choice to the scenario. But our players are into the match. We're getting things started, and down in the bottom side of Vani Research Station, it is game number 2 of the losers semifinal, so his life is on the line. He is our blue Protoss Playa.
All right. And sitting up here again in the red trunks, we've got currently up 1-0. We've got our red Protoss. It's Bales! And I'm going to do that like every game just to annoy you.
That's fine.
So yeah, speaking of player, and we'll give since his tournament live is on the line and it's possible we may not be casting any more games with him. I agree with you. Playa does need to change up his flavor of the month here. He needs to do something different. He needs to maybe not do the Dark Shrine. Maybe he needs to do a super fast Dark Shrine. Like maybe he just goes Tempest. I don't, like just something different.
I don't know if going
and I keep saying Tempest. I mean, maybe he should rush carriers because Bronze League. When you're at the end of the day and you're troubleshooting something, sometimes the level 3 stuff is solved by actually going back to like level 1 noob level stuff. Okay. So maybe.
I'm not. I will actually give you $200 if Playa makes a carrier. Or something, or I'll give him $200, whatever. I don't care.
We'll give him like an excitement bonus or something. Like,
yeah, I don't even know, man.
Excitement on the stream, then you get a bonus. So we'll have to put that as a separate prize pool for the next Midwest Cup 7. Now with what is it? A cheese bonus.
That's an idea for like a really janky tournament where it's like you get money based on like units you made or something. So like for example, you have to make I don't even know. For like every carrier that you make, your prize is increased by like $2 or something, right? Some players would be like, well, I'm just calling mass carriers every time, right?
You know what the thing is? You'd have every bronze, silver, and gold player being like, screw it, I don't care. It's a best of 3. I can do this in 2 games.
Yeah.
And like they end up getting like $50 in prize money, but then like losing like 2-0 every single time.
Hey, man. That money. All right. So speaking of, are we going to change the flavor of the month out of Playa? He's got John Rambo here, making his epic journey across Vani Research Station. It is quite the hike. And actually, this time Playa has scouted Bales before the first Zealot does that scout, so I suppose maybe it's because Vani Research Station's a little bit of a longer map than on Echo, so...
But he does spot it. He actually sends the Stalker out earlier, and then he's stutter stepping the the Zealot to try to kill it before it gets to see anything. The Mothership Core might finish this thing off. He's got 13 hit points, 4. He doesn't get to see anything. Oh!
Not really. I think, did he see all the pylons? Okay, I mean, he's seen 3 pylons in the base, and I guess that's at least something, maybe. It's not great.
He knows that there probably isn't another one sitting somewhere or out.
Yeah,
but if you notice, he's had this probe sitting here scouting like all the random locations.
Yep.
Like if you look the path of this scout or this probe, it literally he rallied it first thing to his natural just to make sure there was no cheese coming over there, and now it's rallied to like the 4th, and then this weird strip behind the gold where you can usually set up like tanks and cannons, and he's like, I'm gonna find this pylon that I think should exist.
Yeah.
And but there's nothing there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Both players have these proxy probes just kind of hanging out, you know. They haven't quite met each other yet, but they're both on a mission, and we'll have to see what that mission really is. A scouting Mothership Core out of Bales is able to see the expansion out of Playa, makes him feel, you know, a little bit happier about what he sees in life. Sees a Stargate coming down and sees the Dark Shrine, and then recalls his way home. So
yeah, he's done that actually in several games. Like he does this crazy like suicide run. It's like Bales treats his Mothership Core like a Japanese kamikaze pilot. He's like, all right, you're going in and you're coming out with 1 less eyeball. All right, like you're going in. And then he does this recall. He's done this in like 3 or 4 games of Witness, but both of them go for Proxy Oracle, although I believe Bales did come out first. Yes, his Proxy Oracle did come out first, as well as his expansion went down sooner. So it looks like Playa just doesn't quite have this build for this Proxy Oracle fully streamlined yet. The Oracle by Bales, though, gets spotted by this Proxy Pylon that Playa set up here. So basically, everyone's little tricks and tips and everything have been spotted by the other player. And these Oracles are going to hit close to the same time. Like, Playa's Oracle's going to hit a little bit sooner and get in the natural, whereas Bales took the scenic route and decided they wanted to find out what's over here with these weird pillars of rock, and goes on the base. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at, so far there's been 1 unit, there's been several workers killed. The Phoenix chases out Playa's Oracle. Meanwhile, there's still an Oracle doing work here, and oh my god, suddenly now Bales catches up in kills by getting 11 units killed versus 7, and most of them were the workers out of Playa's main base. That is going to hurt him in the long run, I think. Yeah,
so I mean, we've got 6. So Playa was able to get 6 kills on the probes, and Bales was able to get 9 of those, and we're definitely seeing a pretty significant harvester difference between the two. Now with Bales leading 38 to 26 harvesters out of Playa. So Playa, I think, is oftentimes a lot. I mean, I think everybody's more comfortable with being in the economic lead, you know, having a worker advantage. But I think Playa is almost just accustomed to being in that.
Unless you're me, I look at my drafts and I always see that I've got the economic lead, but my army value is always like 4 guys. I don't know how that works.
You got that economy though.
It was, but here there's a small little skirmish between Phoenix is over here on the right side, passing over the gold base. There is an advantage to Playa because he does have 4 versus 3, and they do pick off 1. So these 4 are going to go straight after. Probably, I'm not sure if they're going to go to natural or go scout, but the Mothership Core is here, and it does have enough energy to throw down a photon overcharge. But there is some potential to potentially get at least a few kills, but he decides to go ahead and not take the risk and pull back and just kind of scout over potentially to the 3rd and the 4th over here, see what's going on. So it looks like Playa is trying to get the air toss advantage to try to keep Bales contained in his base, which so far looks like it's working. You know, he hasn't really been able to move out. He's keeping that 1 stalker he's got near his main. You know, for a little bit of extra support. Actually, I take that back, 2 stalkers. I can't see anything with the super red glowing colors. Like the Nexus is blending in with everything else. You know, and then you got the workers that are just like these. I don't know. It's like neon versions of the red pill from the Matrix everywhere. So anyway, but he is doing a good job of sort of keeping Bales at least contained. There's no army coming out. You know, so there's that, and so Play is trying to. He's not doing a defensive. He's like doing an offensive defensive play. You know what I mean? Like he's preventing Bales from doing any damage. Yeah,
and I think what Play is trying to do here, like we see out of Bales, he's actually gone ahead and he's made that 2nd Stargate. He's made that fleet beacon similar to the response out of Playa in the last game, where Playa had to make 3 Stargates and a fleet beacon to actually catch up. This time, Playa's got the initial air lead, and a random Archon coming out. Must have been made from a couple of Dark Templar trying to help with this push out, but unfortunately the anion pulse crystals finished just before rip. Did we die? Oh, we lost DJ Spectre. Game over. All right. Well, looks like DJ Spectre's dropping. Yep. There it goes. We're hearing that Skype call getting dropped. Terrible. So, at this point in time, can I change around these? Nope, can't. It's kind of looking like the army engagement, this engagement here that we've seen between the Phoenixes and the Archon against Bales' Phoenixes, just not working out as Playa intended. I think what happened was that Bales actually finished that Anion Pulse Crystal upgrade, increasing the range of. Alright, we're kicking DJ Spectre. We're back into it. And unfortunately, that was kind of the end. That lag out at the end of that fight. I think the fight was basically over anyway, but pretty much the Anion Pulse Crystals out of Bales has finished just as hello. Get rid of that. Anyway, just as that engagement started, and so we saw Bales very strongly take that engagement, being that his Phoenixes were 2 range further than Playa's, and so that's just kind of what happens. Unfortunate for Playa, he drops out, and yeah, I think for everyone involved, that fight was kind of over before the lag out happened, but we'll see. I'll ask the players if they want to resume from replay or not. Although I think Playa might be, I don't know. Shoot, that's like it's an unfortunate circumstance of everything. Okay, so I think Playa is just, he said GG, he said it's over. I think he realized that the fight was kind of done before it all happened, before the drop happened, so as it is, congratulations to Bales.